Good morning, everyone. I am Teacher Jarrett. And today we are going to be reading about some animals and how they move. Do you remember what we talked about yesterday? If you remember, raise your hand. Oh, I want you to tell me the answer. Yes, we talked about our bodies and moving to stay healthy, right? So today we are going to read a book called Move. So the word move means to do things that lets you go from one place to another place. So you move to go to the store, or you move your finger, right? Or you can move your head. So let's all take one moment and move something on our body, okay? I'm gonna move my fingers. Okay, keep moving. Keep moving. Okay, very good. Now let's see, who are the authors of this story? Can anyone tell me? If you know, raise your hand. Ooh, I want you to tell me. Who are the authors? There's two. Okay. And yes, very good. The two authors are Steve Jenkins and Robin Page. Very good. Okay. Now, here is the first page. Move. Do we know what this animal is? Can you tell me what it is? Oh, I heard someone say it. It is a penguin. Yes, this animal is a penguin. So it is moving its foot and moving its wing, okay? Now, is this a telling sentence or an exclamation sentence? We're going to shout it out together on 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. Exclamation sentence! Very good. And we know it's an exclamation sentence because it has an exclamation mark. All right, so let's start reading. Animals move in different ways. Swing. A gibbon swings through jungle trees. Wow, okay, so let's read this together. Animals move in different ways. Swing. A gibbon swings through jungle trees. Okay. Or walks on 2 back legs. Walk. A jacana walks on floating lily pads. So let's read this together. Or walks on 2 back legs. Walk. A jacana walks on floating lily pads. So we can see that the gibbon swings and he walks, right? A jacana also walks. So the gibbon walks and the jacana walks. Now let's go to the next page. Then dives in to catch a fish. Dive. So a jacana walks on floating lily pads and then dives in to catch a fish. So let's read this together. A jacana walks on floating lily pads, then dives in to catch a fish. Dive. A blue whale dives deep, deep, deep and swims below the ocean waves. Swim. Okay, so let's read this together. We'll read it together first. A blue whale dives deep, deep, deep and swims below the ocean waves. Swim. So we can see that a jacana walks and dives, right? And a whale also dives and swims. Okay. Who likes to swim here? Does anyone like to swim? If you like to swim, raise your hand. Wow, some of you like to swim. I'm afraid of water. So when I swim, I just do this. I don't swim very good. It is very difficult for me to swim. So let's go to the next page now. We have to find another animal that swims. An armadillo swims across a stream. And when startled, leaps straight up. Leap. See the word here? Leap. So when we read this story, we can see that a whale swims, a big, big whale swims, and a little armadillo also swims, right? And humans, you and me, we can also swim too. So there are many things in common between different animals and how they move. I'm going to type that down here. There are many common between animals move. Okay. So we'll leave that here to think about. Now, an armadillo swims across a stream. And when startled, leaps straight up. Leap. So let's read that together, okay? An armadillo swims across a stream. And when startled, leaps straight up. Leap. Now, here's another animal. We have to see what animal this is. Can you guess? What's another animal that leaps? Let's write some ideas down. What are some animals that leap? Can you give me an idea? If you know, raise your hand. Oh, I want you to tell me. Yes, a frog leaps. Let's see, can we think of another one? Yes, very good. A dolphin leaps out of the water. There you go. Splash. Splash. Can we think of any more? I can't think of any more. Let's see what the next page is. A crocodile leaps to snag its meal. We didn't think about that. A dolphin leaps out of the water and a crocodile also leaps out of the water. So we have a little armadillo and we have a big crocodile, and they both move the same way. So like we said, there are many things in common between how animals move, okay? So let's see. After slithering silently into the water. So a crocodile leaps to snag its meal after slithering silently into the water. So let's read together. A crocodile leaps to snag its meal after slithering silently into the water. So it slithers in and then leaps to get its food, right? So why don't you try now? We're gonna move like a crocodile. We're gonna slither in and then leap. Okay, so now your turn. Let's see. Slither in and leap. Wow! You are so good at slithering and leaping. Very good. Now let's see. What is the next animal? Can you guess? Something that slithers. If let's see, if you know, raise your hand. I want you to give me an idea. Yes, I think that's a good idea. I think the other animal that slithers is a snake. Let's see. There, a snake slithers through rustling leaves. Slither. And climbs up into a tree. Oops, see, there's a tree and there's the snake. So let's read this together. A snake slithers through the rustling leaves. Slither. And climbs up into a tree. Climb. Now, when we say the slither word, here's the TH sound, right? So we have to make sure that we say the TH sound correctly. So we have to say slither, slither. So do you see my tongue? I say slither. See, that's my tongue. La 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 la. So your tongue should come between your teeth. Can you see my tongue sticking out? So when I say slither, your tongue has to come out of your mouth. If it stays inside your mouth, you cannot say the word right, okay? So practice with your mother and your father saying the word slither, okay? The first S is inside our mouth, right? S. The L is L. Slither. This is a very hard word to learn, okay? So your mouth is closed, because it's an S sound, so S. And then the L sound makes your tongue come out a little bit, right? Slither. So your tongue has to start inside and then come out, and then go inside, and then come out, and then go back inside, okay? So it has to come out twice in one word. So we'll try it one more time, and then I'll say it fast, and then you can practice, okay? Slither. See that? It came out 2 times. So now I'll say it fast. Ready? Watch my tongue. Slither. Slither. Okay? Slither. So you have to take some time to practice. It's not easy, okay? It's very difficult. We learned that word yesterday. But if you keep practicing, you will get it right. Slither. All right. So now, let's go to the next page. and climbs up into a tree. Climb. Oh, I'll read first. A praying mantis climbs a blade of grass. So here's the blade of grass, and here's the praying mantis. Then spreads its wings and flies. Fly. That's the word. So now it's your turn to read. A praying mantis climbs a blade of grass, then spreads its wings and flies. Fly. A road runner flies, but not too far. It would rather run to catch its prey. So here the road runner flies, but it only flies a little bit. And then when it lands, it likes to run, 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 run. Okay? So see, here's the road runner's dinner. It's prey. Prey means something that was alive that the road runner catches and eats. All right? So let's read together. A road runner flies, but not too far. It would rather run to catch its prey. Run. All right. An Arctic hare runs across the ground, then dances, tumbling with its mate. Okay, so it runs, and then this is the boy, and this is the girl, and the boy dances around to get the girl to like him. So let's read together. An Arctic hare runs across the ground, then dances, tumbling with its mate. So it runs, and then it dances. So you see a bird, like the roadrunner, and a hare, which is another name for a rabbit, both have the same movements, right? A jumping spider dances to impress. Ooh, there's a spider. Dance. Then floats away on a thread of silk. Let's read it together. A jumping spider dances to impress. Dance. Then floats away on a thread of silk. So there's its thread. It's floating away. Can you float? Let's see everyone float. Ready? Floating away. Now it's your turn. Let's see you float. Ooh, you do a good job to float. A polar bear floats in dark, icy waters and slides down a snow-covered hill. All right, let's read together. A polar bear floats in dark, icy water and slides down a snow-covered hill. Wow, so it floats in the water and then it slides down the hill. Now look at this. A spider floats on a thread of silk, and a polar bear floats on water. But both animals are floating. So there's a huge, huge, huge bear, and he floats. And a spider also floats, and he's really, really small. So it's the same movement, but different animals. So now we'll read it together. A polar bear floats in dark, icy water and slides down a snow-covered hill. Now, a penguin slides, splash into the sea. Slide. And waddles with its colony. So when there's a lot of penguins together, it's called a colony. Just like when there's a lot of fish together, it's called a, do you know? Yes, it's called a school. A school of fish, a colony of penguins. So let's read together. A penguin slides, splash, into the sea. Slide. And waddles with its colony. Waddle. Waddle, slide, float, dance, run, fly, climb. Animals move in different ways. Slither, leap, swim, dive, walk, swing. How about you? Move. Okay, so let's read all of these words together, okay? Waddle, slide, float, dance, run, fly, climb. Now it's your turn. Waddle, slide, float, dance, run, fly, climb. Animals move in different ways. How about you? Slither, leap, swim, dive, walk, swing. Move! Okay, very good. So we can think about all the different ways we move. And now we're going to read. I will just read this out loud and you can follow along, okay? White-cheeked gibbons are acrobatic animals that spend their lives in the treetops. Gibbons travel by swinging from branch to branch, sometimes covering more than 30 feet or 9 meters with a single swing. On the ground, they can stand upright and walk on their back legs. Gibbons are found in the jungles of Southeast Asia, where they eat plants, insects, and birds' eggs. A large gibbon weighs about 15 pounds or 7 kilograms. Wow. The African jacana walks across the surface of the water by stepping on floating lily pads. Its long toes and claws spread its weight out and keep it from sinking. This long-legged bird is also an excellent diver and swimmer. It eats insects and fish and lives in the wetlands of southern Africa. African jacanas are about 12 inches or 30 centimeters long. Let's read about blue whales now. Blue whales are the largest animals that have ever lived. They dive deep into the sea and are very fast swimmers. These huge mammals can be more than 100 feet or 30 meters long and weigh as much as 25 African elephants. Blue whales eat only tiny shrimp-like animals called krill. Now let's read about the armadillo. Does anyone remember what the armadillo does? If you remember, raise your hand. Okay, why don't you tell me? It swims, yeah, and it leaps. Very good, yeah. Okay, let's read about the nine-banded armadillo. The nine-banded armadillo is about the size of a large house cat. It can cross a river by swimming on the surface or by walking across on the bottom. On land, this armored mammal looks slow and awkward, but it can move quickly. When surprised, the armadillo can jump straight up into the air, startling an attacker. Armadillos live in the southern United States and South America. They eat insects and small animals. Strangely, baby armadillos are always born as identical quadruplets. All right, let's see what the next animal is. The Nile crocodile. The Nile crocodile is a huge reptile, reaching 20 feet or 6 meters in length. The crocodile lies quietly in the water, waiting for an unsuspecting animal to approach. Then, with a stroke of its powerful tail, it leaps forward and grabs its prey with sharp teeth. Crocodiles often bask in the sun at the edge of a lake or river, slithering down the bank to return to the water. They will eat almost any animal they can catch, sometimes even humans. The Nile crocodile lives in rivers and lakes throughout Africa. Wow. Now here's a snake. The colorful corn snake has a flattened belly, which helps it climb trees and walls. Like many other snakes, the corn snake moves over the ground with a slithering motion, forming S-shaped loops with its body. Corn snakes live in the southeastern United States and can grow up to 6 feet or 183 centimeters long. They eat rodents and birds and kill their prey by squeezing it to death. They start like this and squeeze the prey to death. Wow, we have some more animals to read about, okay? So, the praying mantis holds its front legs folded up in front of its body as if it is praying. So it goes like this, and it's ready to attack. The mantis climbs onto a twig or branch where it looks just like part of the plant. There it waits motionless until an unlucky insect, lizard, mouse, or small bird wanders by. Then it grabs its prey with spine-covered legs and devours it. Nom, 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 nom. After its meal, the big insect, which may be more than 6 inches or 15 centimeters long, can fly to a new hunting spot. Praying mantises live in most warm and tropical parts of the world. The roadrunner is a desert bird that lives in the southwestern United States and Mexico. It can fly for short distances with its stubby wings, but it is better at running than flying. It can move along the ground faster than most humans can run. The roadrunner eats insects, lizards, snakes, and mice, and is about 22 inches or 56 centimeters long. Wow. Here's another animal, the Arctic hare. The Arctic hare lives in northern Canada. Its fur is brown in the summer, but it turns white in the winter, when the ground is covered with snow. When threatened, the Arctic hare runs using its powerful back legs to escape danger. During the spring, males and females perform an elaborate courtship dance, taking turns somersaulting over each other. The Arctic hare is up to 2 feet or 61 centimeters long and feeds on twigs and roots. Here's our spider friend. The male jumping spider performs a dance to impress a female jumping spider, waving its bright red abdomen back and forth. That means it goes back and forth, or back and forth, back and forth. This tiny spider is only about 1/4 of an inch, or 6 millimeters long. The jumping spider can float through the air by ballooning, spinning a silk thread that is caught by the wind, and of course it can jump up to 40 times its body length. So that means it can jump 240 millimeters high. Okay, now let's look at the polar bear. The polar bear, the largest of all the bears, may be 10 feet or 3 meters long. It lives in the Arctic and has a thick layer of fat that keeps it warm and helps it float in the icy water. A strong swimmer and fearsome predator, the polar bear is also a playful animal. Rolling in the snow and sliding down snow-covered hills, these bears eat seals, walruses, fish, and caribou. Wow. Now here's our last animal, the penguin. Penguins live in the southern hemisphere, so a penguin would never meet a polar bear in the wild. Penguins waddle slowly on the ground, but when they slide or dive into the water, they are swift and graceful swimmers. The largest of these flightless birds are emperor penguins, which can be 4 feet or 122 centimeters tall. They spend much of their time in the sea, where they feed on fish and shrimp. Wow. Those are some great animals. So, this is our respond to reading. We already talked about this a little bit, but let's answer one of these questions. Which animals from the book can swim? So let's go up here and look. So a gibbon can or cannot swim? If you have an answer, raise your hand. Okay, I want you to tell me. That is correct. The gibbon cannot swim. Nope. But the blue whale can swim. The armadillo can swim. The crocodile can swim. And the polar bear can swim. It's a strong swimmer. And penguins can swim. So let's type that out. Which animals in this story can swim? A gibbon cannot swim, but an armadillo. Let's see, what else? Armadillo, a blue whale, a crocodile, a polar bear, and a penguin. A polar bear and a penguin can swim. Okay. So we decided which animals can swim and cannot swim. Now let's see, where in the book would you look to learn more about some of the animals? Well, we saw up here that this story just tells us how they move, right? But if we go to the back of the book, almost the last page, we can read more information about the animals. So to answer the question, we can go to the last pages of the book to learn more about the animals. Okay, so that's all of our reading for today. But today there's a little homework, okay? So your homework is to make a list of all the ways that you move in one day, okay? So it might be walking, or running, or jumping, or swimming, or waddling. So what you need to do tonight or this morning is to write down all of the words that you, all of the moving words that you do every day, okay? So get some paper and get a pen and write. And then you can talk to your mother and father about the way you move, and you can look in this story and see what other animals move the same way you do, okay? So maybe you swim like a polar bear, or you leap like a crocodile, but that's your homework for tonight, okay? So for now, I'm going to say bye-bye, and I will see you next time, okay? Woo!